thoroughbred. Ain't never told no lie. Fuck a 9 to 5, bitch, I 24 with a grind. Fuck around if you want it, you gon' fuck around and get fined. I won't stop chasing after it even when I'm tired with this money. I won't stop chasing after this money. I'm gon' keep chasing after this money. I won't stop chasing after this money.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Awkward and Introvert, where I'll be giving you my truths, even if they hurt. As I lay here and reflect, I think back on a story that came to mind in reference to an instance that occurred to me of my survival, because I am not a victim, I am a survivor. In these times, I was very young, naive, impressed by a vehicle because I wanted so badly to have one. I was promised to myself that I was going to have a car by the time I was 15. But at this time, I was only a sweet 13, and I was, impressionable when it came down to a car. My cousin would always allow me to drive his candy apple red 4-door Chevy, and I'd be beating through the blocks, banging the neighborhood out. But this person told me specifically for me to be able to drive his car, I could never ride it through the neighborhood because he would get in trouble for allowing me to drive his car. So I understood it in that manner because that was how I looked at it. This was a person that I had known, grown to know as a family friend, felt safe with, thought that I could trust. So I would drive his car and I would make errands and runs and do the things that I needed to do on the days I needed to have a car, which would always require me to be outside of the neighborhood anyway to handle the things that I needed to handle. And then I would bring those things back, and that would be the end of it. I wouldn't be like riding through the neighborhood in his car. I would come back in his car, but I would be in the passenger side. So on this particular day, I meet him to pick up the car. I was excited because it was going to be a whole day, not a couple of hours, a whole day of having a car. That meant that me and my friends could hang out. I was going to ride us a couple of places. We was going to go see some guys. We was going to go hang out. We was going to kick it. We was going to take some pictures over here, run over here, and take some pictures over there. We just had everything just so mapped out. After things had happened, things occurred, and we did all the things we said we were, it was now time for me to start getting around to that time to checking on what time he want me to come and pick him up with his car. So I called him, and I noticed, that he said, yeah, it's about that time in about an hour. And I'm like, you know what, I'm actually finna leave now, so I'll probably get there early. I'll just be sitting outside. He said, okay. So he gave me the address. I went on and drove that way. As I drove into the address area, this wasn't the same area it was that I dropped him off, which was an understanding because he was always hopping in and out of cars with other people. So when I got to the address, I looked to make sure that I was at the right place, and I was like, wait a minute. And then as I looked again, I'm like, wait a minute. This is a hotel or a motel or something like that, the way that it looked. So I drove all the way in and I rode up to the door number. And when I sat at the door number, I said, okay, well, that's the door number right there. I just flash the lights at the window, blink, blink, let them know I'm out here, and I'll sit right here in the car and wait for this person to come open the door and come on out so that we can get moving. So I sit there a good 20 minutes, a good 30 minutes then passed. I'm not trying to be like pushy because I did come a little bit early. Now that it's that time, at this time, I'm like, where's this person at? Not even one time has the curtain moved or a person stuck his head out the door, gave me a minute gesture, nothing. So I'm just sitting there, just waited out. So another 30 minutes went past. Now it's in a whole complete hour. Now, so this hour has went past. It's like an hour and 10 minutes now. And it's like, just isn't right. So as I'm sitting there, I can't help but to notice the surroundings because that's what I do. I pay attention to everything. I've always been observant because being observant can save your life. So I'm looking around, and as I look around, I see construction. on this side of the hotel, motel, or whatever it was, and I see a gate, and then, I see a lot of sanding material and concrete bags and stuff of that nature over there. So I'm like, okay, this is definitely under construction. The yellow tape telling you not to cross and all of that. So I'm like, okay, it's definitely under construction. So I just get out, I look around, watch my surroundings, I walk over to the door. I try to look through the windows. I see absolutely nothing because the curtains are closed completely. So I go to the door, lean my head in and listen a little bit right before I get ready to knock. And when I listen for a minute, I hear the TV playing, but I really don't hear nothing. So I knock, and still nobody don't answer for a few minutes. So I'm like, wait a minute, he not even here? You know what I'm saying? So I lean my head to the door just to listen again to see if I hear any movement. And just as I was pulling my head back, the door snatches open. He snatches me in by my hair and my jacket, slings me into the dresser, slams the door. I'm a little shaken in reference to being slammed into the dresser, so I'm trying to collect myself to gather my vision to see all that I'm seeing. But as I look around the room, I'm in the notice of, because again, I'm very observant. I'm in the notice of, he don't have any pants on. There's pizza on the table. There's pop on the table. There's a thing of oil. The TV is on. There's a flick playing on the TV. And the room is really tight because it's just the bed, a dresser, a small little vanity, a sink, and a washroom, and a small little closet area. So it wasn't like a really big atmosphere anyway to begin with. So I sit there and I try to gather my thoughts for a second because, again, I just hit my head dead on the dresser. So when I look around and I notice everything that I see, I instantly just jump up, run around the little path around the bed, past the sink, and then to the bathroom and slam the door. Because I had to find enough time to catch my breath without being attacked again. I didn't want to be vulnerable. That's how I felt. So I slammed the door, locked the door, put my back all on the door, slid down the door, and just sat there for a second. And as I sat there, I looked around the bathroom. I looked up, and as I looked through the bathroom, I could see the little casing of the bathroom window. It only had that small little vent. Everything else was that little white clear glass casing, so it wasn't really a window. It was just a venting window. So when I went to go and jump and open that vent up and look out there, it was like wasteless to even consider using my breath because that whole area in the back was under construction, and it was nothing but rocks and gravel and whatnot behind gates and fence, and there was nothing, and it was completely like in a darkness. So that was like a waste. So I went back to the bathroom door and I sat back at the door to, brace the door in case he started kicking on it or whatnot. And I braced myself, up against the door, and I just sat there and I thought, what could I do? Then I remembered the layout. Now, this is the most important part of all instances and situations. You remember the layout and exactly where the door is at. I remember thinking about what the door looks like. When I sat there and I remember looking up, I remember that little slide hinge. I'm not sure if he locked it, but I'm sure he probably did. So in my head, I'm plotting how it is that I'm going to run across this bed. I'm going to jump at the door with both hands out, one on the lock, the other on the little slide hinge, one to pull the hinge back, the other then twist the doorknob as you pull that hinge all the way back, because the hinge got to go all the way back, and it has to bend in order to let that little circle piece come out of it in order for the door to completely open. So that was my goal. Now, I sat there for a few minutes and I thought this plan out. I'm talking about meticulously in reference to what I was doing. I listened. I put my eyeballs at the bottom of the door to try to see if I seen feet patterns. I didn't see anything. I didn't hear anything. I didn't know where he was. I didn't know if he was coming. I didn't know if he was sitting at the table. I didn't know if he was sitting directly at the door. I just didn't know where he was. And at this moment, I had no more time to think about it. I just went on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, swung that door open. My foot dove into the bed. I bounced. I hit the door with my chest part. I would then pulled myself backwards. I grabbed the handle and the lock piece, and I began to proceed with my plan. But as I was proceeding with my plan, he was running up to me from around the side of the bed where he was, which was standing by the door. He ran up beside me, and then took my head and shoved it into the door. Now, when he shoved my head into the door, I hit my forehead and my nose on the door, so it completely stunned me. I was like seeing black circles, dots, and everything else, but it wasn't stopping me from still reaching for this dope. So he began slinging me, And as he slung me down. He jumped on top of me with his wiener hanging out. And again, this was like the first time that I had ever been able to see a grown man's dick. So I was very scared in reference to how close his dick was to me and everything. So when he jumped on top of me and began like slamming my head into the floor, I took my legs and put them forward and tried to like wrap them around his head to try to bring him backwards and pull him down. But then he began to try to gouge out my eyes. So I just started like kicking him like crazy, like just kicking at him. And then when I realized kicking at him wasn't doing anything, his dick was so close to me, I was like, what could I do to it? What could I? And I just grabbed it. And I took my nails and I pinched it so hard at the tip that all he can do was holler, scream, and back up. Now, I jumped up after he let me go to balled up to try to grab something. So I went to first try to grab the lamp. It was nailed down. Tried to pick up the phone. It was nailed down. Now, by this time, he done stood back up. He on his feet again and charging me. So all I can do was take the phone and the blow dryer, which were both corded to the walls, and just swing them at him to keep him at a distance while I at least gather myself, get myself together, look at the door, pay attention to everything that's still available for me to make what it was that I was trying to do to get up out of here before he grabbed me. And when I looked over at the door, I noticed and realized that the hinge was all the way open. So the door was locked, but the hinge was all the way to the other side of the walls. All I had to do was to really twist that doorknob and I can get out. Because once you twist the doorknob from the inside, it unlocks. So we wrestle and tussle across the bed a little bit. I kick him, he push me, I shove him, he throw me. I get back up, he kick me. We fall, I get back up. Next thing you know, I hit the door, twist the knob, and I was out. It was like... And when I was running, the air just, I don't know, it was like life again, because I was determined I was not going to let this man hurt me, because I imagined if he would do all of these things to me, and this is somebody that I know, this is somebody that I've grown up with, this is somebody that is a family friend, this is somebody that I've looked at as a family friend. If he would do this to me, what would he not do to me to keep this a secret? He would kill me. He would kill me. He would rape me and fucking kill me. And that was his intentions in my head, and I took it as such. And I didn't try to sugarcoat it no further when I was sitting in that bathroom on that floor. I was thinking, and I was thinking all the way truly to myself and talking to myself and telling myself the realities of what this is. It is what it is. He is finna rape you, and he's gonna kill you. This is not a situation he's trying to let you leave from. And I was like, at that moment, I'd be damned if he put that thing inside of me. I'd be damned if he touched me in any way that I don't want. And if I have to kill this motherfucker to get out of here, that's what I'm going to do. Because his intent was to kill me. So again, I hit that door. As soon as out that door was nothing but air. I'm running. I run down the street. As I'm running down the street, I run dead out in the center of the street, because the street was a 4-lane street. So I ran dead out into the center of the street, and I'm just running. My shirt ripped down, my thing, like my to my middle of my stomach. But I'm just running and I'm crying because I'm thankful. Thankful that what could have occurred did not occur. And what he was trying to do to me, he didn't even get in the chances of doing to me. What could have happened did not happen. And all that he anticipated never got close to. It happened so fast, and I thought real quickly, and I understood the assignment, and I did what needed to be done and got the fuck up out of there. But again, I'm running down the street, and as I'm running down the street, a cab pulls up on the side of me, and it's one of those Hindu men with the dot on his forehead. And I never forget, I was so scared. He was like, "Baby, I would not hurt you. I want to help you. Please let me help you. I will take you wherever you need to go. I will help you." He just kept saying that, and I was so scared. So he said, "I'll let all the windows down." He let all the windows down, and I got in, and as I was getting in, I would not close that door. He said, "It's okay. You can hold on to the door. Just put your seatbelt on so that if anything happens, you won't fall out the car." And I couldn't put my seatbelt on, but I was holding it like I had it on, so he can think that that was what I was wearing. Because at them times, back in the days, seatbelts didn't have accessories on them where they bling, bling, bling and keep letting you know a motherfucker ain't got their seatbelt on. So I was back there like just sitting there holding the seatbelt across my chest with the door open, just crying. And he drove me all the way to Roosevelt. And when he asked me, like, where do he go further to take me home, I was scared to let him take me home because I was scared that he would be the one to follow me and be crazy and all the rest of that. And I just told him I was good, and he let me out, and I thanked him, and I just walked. And as I walked home, I cried, and I thanked God for being able to have the know-how of what it was that needed to be did, and not being afraid, being able to move how it was that I needed to move, which allowed me to get home, because all I wanted to do was get home. This is my story of being trustful of someone that I grew to think that I was safe with, a family friend. These same people who you think that you are safe with, you are not safe with. My experience is to tell anyone to be in the observance of a person and believe them for who you see them as. And don't overlook the fact that you've known them your entire life. Don't overlook the fact that you just know or think that you know this person because you only know their representative. This is Awkward Introvert giving you my truths, even if it hurts.
Do I need to be good all the time? Nah, nah, nah. No drama, yeah. Nah, nah, nah.